Turkey. A land where ancient civilizations carved entire cities into volcanic rock, where turquoise waters lap against white limestone terraces that look like frozen waterfalls, and where the boundary between Europe and Asia isn't just a line on a map, it's a living, breathing testament to thousands of years of cultural collision and creation. This is Turkey, a country that refuses to be confined by continents, categories, or expectations. Here, hot air balloons drift over fairy chimneys at dawn while underground cities stretch 8 stories deep into the earth. Roman theaters still echo with phantom applause, Byzantine domes catch the golden light of Istanbul's sunset, and beaches rival the Caribbean while snow-capped peaks pierce the clouds just hours away by car. Turkey doesn't just bridge continents, it bridges time itself, where Stone Age settlements neighbor Space Age architecture, and where every sunrise reveals landscapes so impossibly beautiful they seem crafted by giants. Today, we're embarking on a visual odyssey through 12 of the most breathtaking wonders this crossroads of civilizations has to offer. From the ethereal valleys of Cappadocia to the pristine shores of the turquoise coast, from the haunting beauty of abandoned Byzantine cities to the architectural marvels that have stood for millennia, we'll discover why Turkey isn't just a destination, it's a living masterpiece painted across 2 continents. Prepare to see a country where beauty isn't just common, it's inevitable. Number 12. Sumela Monastery. Clinging to a sheer cliff face 1,200 meters above the Altındere Valley, Sumela Monastery doesn't just defy gravity, it defies belief. Built into the vertical rock wall of Maka Mountain in Turkey's Black Sea region, this 1,600-year-old Byzantine monastery appears to hover in mid-air as if suspended between earth and sky by divine intervention. The monastery's dramatic perch isn't merely for show. When Greek monks first carved chambers into this precipitous cliff in 386 AD, they were seeking the ultimate sanctuary, a place so remote and inaccessible that only the most devoted could reach it. What they created became one of the most spectacular examples of rock-cut architecture in the world, where man and mountain merge into a single breathtaking whole. The approach to Sumela is as dramatic as the destination itself. A winding forest trail leads through ancient pine and fir trees, their branches forming a natural cathedral overhead. The sound of rushing water from hidden streams mingles with the whisper of wind through leaves, creating an almost supernatural acoustic backdrop. Then suddenly, the trees part, and there it is, the monastery seemingly growing from the rock itself, its white walls and red-tiled roofs creating a stark contrast against the dark stone. Inside, the monastery reveals its true treasures. Frescoes dating back to the 18th century cover the walls of the main church, their colors still vibrant despite centuries of exposure to the elements. These paintings depict scenes from the Bible with a distinctly Byzantine style, their gold backgrounds catching and reflecting the filtered light that enters through ancient windows. The rock-cut cells where monks once lived in contemplation stretch deep into the mountain, each chamber carved by hand with tools that seem impossibly primitive for such precise work. What makes Sumela particularly extraordinary is its integration with the natural landscape. The monastery doesn't dominate the cliff, it becomes part of it. Water seeps through the rock, creating natural air conditioning in summer, and forming spectacular ice formations in winter. The architects of Sumela understood something profound about working with nature rather than against it, creating a structure that has survived earthquakes, wars, and centuries of harsh weather precisely because it moves with the mountain rather than fighting it. The view from Sumela's terraces is nothing short of spectacular. The Altındere Valley unfolds below like a green carpet, while the peaks of the Pontic Mountains stretch to the horizon. On clear days you can see all the way to the Black Sea, its waters glinting like scattered diamonds in the distance. It's a perspective that transforms visitors, offering a bird's-eye view of a landscape that has remained largely unchanged for centuries. Number 11. Mount Ararat. Rising from the eastern Anatolia Plateau like a sleeping giant, Mount Ararat commands the horizon with an authority that has inspired legends for millennia. At 5,137 meters, this dormant volcanic peak isn't just Turkey's highest mountain, it's a geographical monument that has shaped human imagination, religious belief, and cultural identity across civilizations. Ararat's profile is unmistakable, a perfect volcanic cone that dominates the skyline for hundreds of kilometers in every direction. Its snow-capped summit gleams white against the azure sky year-round, creating a beacon visible from Armenia, Iran, and Azerbaijan. The mountain's isolation enhances its majesty. No other peaks of comparable height interrupt the vast plateau, making Ararat appear even more colossal than its already impressive statistics suggest. The approach to Ararat reveals the mountain's complex personality. The lower slopes are carpeted with wildflowers in spring, poppies, tulips, and iris, creating a natural garden that stretches for miles. As elevation increases, the landscape transforms into alpine meadows where Kurdish shepherds graze their flocks, their traditional lifestyle unchanged for generations. Higher still, the terrain becomes increasingly dramatic, with volcanic rock formations creating an otherworldly landscape that seems more lunar than terrestrial. What makes Ararat particularly fascinating is its volcanic history. The mountain is composed of two distinct peaks, Greater Ararat and Lesser Ararat, connected by a high saddle. This formation results from multiple eruptions over hundreds of thousands of years, creating layers of volcanic rock that tell the story of the Earth's violent past. The most recent eruption occurred in 1840, reminding visitors that this giant is merely sleeping, not dead. The mountain's cultural significance extends far beyond its physical presence. Mount Ararat features prominently in Armenian folklore, appearing on the country's coat of arms despite being located in Turkey. The peak has inspired countless works of art, literature, and music, becoming a symbol of homeland and identity for the Armenian people. This cultural weight adds an emotional dimension to the mountain's already impressive physical presence. Climbing Ararat offers one of the most challenging and rewarding mountaineering experiences in the world. The ascent requires technical skill, physical endurance, and careful planning, but the reward is extraordinary. From the summit, the view encompasses 4 countries, with the vast expanse of the Armenian plateau stretching to the horizon. The sense of standing atop this geological monument, surrounded by a landscape that has witnessed the rise and fall of empires, is both humbling and exhilarating. The play of light on Ararat throughout the day creates a constantly changing masterpiece. Dawn paints the peak rose gold, while sunset transforms it into a glowing ember against the darkening sky. Local weather patterns often shroud the summit in clouds, creating an air of mystery that enhances the mountain's already legendary status. When the clouds part to reveal the full peak, the moment feels like a divine revelation. Number 9. Caputus Beach. Between the towering cliffs of the Taurus Mountains and the pristine waters of the Mediterranean, Caputus Beach exists as a perfect crescent of paradise that seems almost too beautiful to be real. This 200-meter stretch of white sand, accessible only by a steep staircase carved into the cliff face, represents the Turkish Riviera at its most spectacular. A hidden gem where turquoise waters meet dramatic geography in a display of natural perfection. The first glimpse of Caputus from the coastal highway above is genuinely breathtaking. The beach appears suddenly as you round a bend, a brilliant white comma of sand nestled between towering limestone cliffs. The water is an impossible shade of turquoise that seems to glow from within, so clear that boats appear to be floating on air rather than water. The contrast between the white sand, blue-green water, and the ochre-colored cliffs creates a color palette that seems designed by a master artist. What makes Caputus extraordinary isn't just its beauty, it's the dramatic setting that frames it. The beach sits at the mouth of a deep canyon where a seasonal stream meets the sea, creating a natural amphitheater of towering rock walls. These cliffs, carved by millennia of wind and water, rise vertically from the beach to heights of over 200 meters, creating a sense of complete enclosure and privacy. The geology here tells the story of ancient seas and tectonic upheavals, with layers of limestone and fossil deposits visible in the cliff faces. The water at Caputus is a natural wonder in itself. Fed by underground springs and protected by the surrounding cliffs, the bay maintains a constant temperature that's perfect for swimming year-round. The clarity is extraordinary. You can see the bottom clearly even in the deepest parts of the bay, watching fish swim between underwater rock formations. The color varies throughout the day, shifting from deep sapphire in the morning to brilliant turquoise at midday, then to rich emerald as the sun sets behind the cliffs. The beach's isolation adds to its allure. Unlike many Mediterranean beaches, Caputus has remained largely undeveloped, accessible only to those willing to make the steep climb down the cliff path. This natural barrier has preserved the beach's pristine character, creating a sense of discovery that makes each visit feel like finding a secret treasure. The limited facilities, just a small cafe and basic amenities, ensure that the focus remains on the natural beauty rather than commercial development. The surrounding landscape really enhances the beach's impact. The Taurus Mountains rise directly behind the cliffs, and, their peaks are often snow-capped, even when the beach temperature reaches 30 degrees Celsius. Ancient carob and olive trees cling to the rocky slopes, while aromatic herbs like thyme and rosemary perfume the air. The contrast between the rugged mountain landscape and the serene beach creates this uniquely Turkish combination of dramatic geography and Mediterranean leisure. The approach to Caputus is honestly part of its charm. The staircase carved into the cliff face becomes a pilgrimage of sorts, with each step revealing new perspectives of the beach and sea below. The physical effort required to reach the sand makes the arrival feel earned, transforming a simple beach visit into a minor adventure. The climb back up provides constantly changing viewpoints, with the beach and bay appearing different from each elevation. Weather conditions at Caputus create constantly changing visual experiences. Early morning often brings calm seas that perfectly mirror the surrounding cliffs, creating a symmetrical composition that looks almost unreal. Afternoon breezes can whip up small waves that crash against the rocks, sending spray high into the air where it catches the light like scattered diamonds. Sunset transforms the entire scene into a golden amphitheater, with the cliffs glowing like molten metal and the water reflecting the sky's changing colors. In the heart of Turkey's Denizli province, nature and human ingenuity have collaborated to create one of the world's most extraordinary landscapes. Pamukkale, which means cotton castle in Turkish, presents a surreal vision of white limestone terraces that cascade down a hillside like frozen waterfalls. Above these travertine formations, the ancient city of Hierapolis spreads its remarkably preserved ruins, creating a combination of natural wonder and archaeological treasure that really defies easy description. The approach to Pamukkale reveals the site's otherworldly character gradually. From a distance, the white terraces appear to be snow-covered slopes, their brilliant white surface contrasting starkly with the surrounding brown hills. As you draw closer, the true nature of these formations becomes apparent. They're not snow, but limestone deposits created by mineral-rich hot springs that have been flowing for thousands of years. The calcium carbonate in the water has solidified into terraces that look like oversized bathtubs, each one catching and holding the warm, mineral-laden water. Walking barefoot across the travertine terraces is an experience unlike any other. The limestone feels smooth and warm underfoot, polished by centuries of flowing water. The terraces themselves range from shallow pools just centimeters deep to larger basins that can accommodate several people. The water temperature remains constant at around 35 degrees Celsius year-round, heated by geothermal activity deep beneath the earth. The minerals in the water create a silky texture that leaves skin feeling remarkably soft. The visual impact of Pamukkale changes dramatically with the light. Early morning sun transforms the terraces into a brilliant white amphitheater, with the mineral deposits glowing like alabaster. The pools reflect the sky, creating mirrors that double the visual impact. As the day progresses, the changing angle of the sun reveals different textures and patterns in the limestone, while the water in the pools shifts from crystal clear to brilliant turquoise. Above the natural terraces, the ruins of Hierapolis spread across the plateau like a vast archaeological park. Founded in the 2nd century BC, this ancient spa city was built specifically to take advantage of the therapeutic hot springs. The Romans, master builders and lovers of luxury, created a city that rivaled Rome itself in its grandeur. The theater, which could seat 20,000 spectators, remains one of the best preserved examples of Roman architecture in Turkey. Its stage building stands nearly intact, with elaborate stone carvings and architectural details still clearly visible. The necropolis of Hierapolis stretches for over 2 kilometers, representing one of the largest ancient cemeteries in Turkey. The variety of tomb designs reveals the cosmopolitan nature of this ancient city. Roman sarcophagi stand alongside Hellenistic monuments and early Christian graves. The craftsmanship visible in these monuments is extraordinary, with intricate carvings depicting mythological scenes, portraits of the deceased, and religious symbols. Walking among these tombs is like taking a journey through ancient art history. The ancient pool at Hierapolis, now called Cleopatra's Pool, offers a unique swimming experience. Fed by the same hot springs that created the travertine terraces, the pool maintains a constant temperature of 36 degrees Celsius. What makes swimming here extraordinary is the presence of ancient column fragments and marble pieces on the pool bottom, remnants of a Roman temple destroyed by earthquakes. Swimming among these submerged archaeological treasures creates a surreal connection between past and present. The engineering achievements visible throughout Hierapolis demonstrate the Romans' sophisticated understanding of hydraulics and urban planning. The city's water system, fed by the hot springs, included public baths, private homes, and elaborate fountains. The main street, paved with limestone blocks, stretched for over a kilometer and was lined with shops, temples, and public buildings. The precision of the construction, with perfectly fitted stones and sophisticated drainage systems, explains how these structures have survived for nearly 2,000 years. In the heart of Anatolia, volcanic eruptions and millions of years of erosion have sculpted a landscape so fantastical it seems borrowed from another planet. Göreme National Park, at the center of Turkey's Cappadocia region, presents a geological wonderland where towering rock formations called fairy chimneys create a natural sculpture garden that stretches to the horizon. This isn't just a pretty landscape, it's a living museum where nature's artistry and human ingenuity have combined to create one of the world's most extraordinary cultural landscapes. The fairy chimneys themselves are geological marvels that require perfect conditions to form. Millions of years ago, volcanic eruptions from nearby Mount Erciyes and Mount Hassan covered the region with layers of ash and lava. Over time, wind and water carved these deposits into the fantastic shapes we see today: towering cones, mushroom-like formations, and needle-sharp spires that can reach heights of 40 meters. The varying hardness of different rock layers created the distinctive shapes, with harder caps protecting softer stone beneath, resulting in the characteristic hat appearance of many formations. What transforms Göreme from a natural wonder into a cultural treasure is the human element. Early Christian communities seeking refuge from persecution discovered that the soft volcanic rock could be easily carved into homes, churches, and entire underground cities. The result is a landscape where nearly every fairy chimney has been transformed into human habitation. Windows and doorways carved into the rock faces reveal the presence of ancient dwellings, while elaborate church facades hint at the sophisticated religious communities that once thrived here. The rock churches of Göreme contain some of the finest examples of Byzantine art in the world. The Church of St. Barbara, carved directly into a fairy chimney, features frescoes that date to the 11th century. These paintings, protected by the cool, dry environment of the caves, retain their original colors with remarkable clarity. The Dark Church, so named because its few windows helped preserve its artwork, contains a complete cycle of New Testament scenes, painted in a style that bridges Byzantine and Western artistic traditions. The morning experience in Göreme is nothing short of magical. As dawn breaks over the fairy chimneys, the rock formations glow with a warm golden light that seems to emanate from within. The interplay of light and shadow creates constantly changing patterns on the carved surfaces, while the varying colors of the rock, from cream to rose to deep ochre, create a natural palette that shifts throughout the day. The silence is profound, broken only by the whisper of wind through the rock formations and the distant call of birds. The hot air balloon flights that have become synonymous with Cappadocia offer a perspective on Göreme that reveals the true scope of this landscape. From above, the fairy chimneys appear as a vast forest of stone, with valleys carving intricate patterns between the formations. The view reveals the clever planning of the ancient inhabitants, who carved their homes and churches to take advantage of natural protection and favorable orientations. The geometric patterns created by vineyards and orchards in the valleys below add a human touch to the natural artistry. The engineering achievements visible throughout Göreme are remarkable. The cave dwellings demonstrate sophisticated understanding of natural ventilation, with carved channels directing airflow to maintain comfortable temperatures year-round. The churches show advanced architectural planning with carved columns, arches, and domes that mirror the stone architecture of the period. The underground cities connected to many of the surface dwellings could house thousands of people, complete with ventilation systems, water sources, and storage areas. The Valley of Love, just outside Göreme, showcases the erotic imagination of natural forces. The phallic shapes of many fairy chimneys here have inspired local legends and attract visitors who marvel at nature's sense of humor. The formations are particularly dramatic at sunset, when the warm light enhances their sculptural qualities and creates photographs that seem almost too fantastical to be real. Number 6. Butterfly Valley. Hidden along Turkey's dramatic Lycian coast, Butterfly Valley exists as a pristine sanctuary where towering limestone cliffs embrace a secluded beach and create a microclimate that supports one of the Mediterranean's most diverse butterfly populations. This roadless paradise, accessible only by boat or a challenging hiking trail, represents the Turkish coastline at its most unspoiled. A place where nature really reigns supreme and human impact remains minimal. The approach to Butterfly Valley by sea is deliberately dramatic. The coastline here presents an almost vertical wall of limestone cliffs that plunge directly into the Mediterranean, creating a landscape that, honestly, seems impenetrable. Then, suddenly, a narrow opening appears in the rock face, the mouth of Butterfly Valley. As your boat turns into this hidden entrance, the confined space of the gorge amplifies the sound of waves against stone, creating a natural symphony that announces your arrival in this secret world. The valley itself is a geological masterpiece carved by a seasonal stream over millions of years. The gorge stretches inland for nearly 2 kilometers, its walls rising vertically for over 350 meters on both sides. The width varies from just 50 meters at the beach to over 200 meters at its widest point, creating a natural amphitheater that traps moisture and creates a unique microclimate. The limestone cliffs, carved and polished by centuries of water flow, display layers of geological history in their banded patterns. What makes Butterfly Valley truly extraordinary is its ecosystem. The protected environment created by the surrounding cliffs provides shelter for over 80 species of butterflies, including the rare Jersey tiger butterfly that gives the valley its name. During peak season, these orange and black striped butterflies fill the air in clouds of color, creating a living kaleidoscope against the white limestone walls. The sight of thousands of butterflies dancing in the filtered sunlight that penetrates the gorge is genuinely magical. The beach at Butterfly Valley is a pristine stretch of pebbles and sand that feels completely removed from the modern world. The water is an incredible shade of turquoise, fed by the stream that flows through the valley and by underwater springs that maintain a constant temperature. The clarity is extraordinary. You can see the bottom clearly even in the deepest parts of the bay, watching fish swim between underwater rocks and marine plants. The stream that carved the valley continues to shape it today. During the winter months, runoff from the surrounding mountains creates a powerful torrent that has carved pools and waterfalls into the canyon walls. These natural swimming holes, fed by cascade after cascade, offer freshwater swimming in a setting that feels just like a natural spa. The sound of falling water echoes off the canyon walls, creating a constant soothing backdrop. The vegetation in Butterfly Valley is, honestly, remarkably diverse for such a confined space. The protected environment supports plants that are rare or even extinct in other parts of the Mediterranean. Wild oleander bushes create natural gardens along the stream, while fig trees and ancient olive trees cling to the canyon walls. The combination of fresh water, protection from wind, and the special light conditions created by the surrounding cliffs allows this vegetation to really flourish. The hiking trail to Butterfly Valley is, well, an adventure in itself. The path follows ancient goat tracks along the cliff tops, offering spectacular views of the Mediterranean coastline. The trail is challenging and requires careful navigation, but the reward is the sense of discovering a hidden paradise. The descent into the valley follows the stream bed, with the path crossing and recrossing the water as it winds between these massive boulders. If this journey has already left you breathless, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We're only halfway through, and the wonders ahead will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about natural beauty. Number 5. Saklikent Gorge. In the heart of the Taurus Mountains, where tectonic forces have torn the earth apart and water has carved pathways through solid rock, Saklikent Gorge presents one of Turkey's most dramatic natural wonders. This 18-kilometer-long canyon with walls that tower up to 300 meters high and passages so narrow that sunlight barely penetrates, creates a world of perpetual twilight where the power of water over stone is written in every carved surface. The entrance to Saklikent Gorge is deceptively modest. A wooden walkway leads across a crystal-clear stream to what appears to be a simple crack in the mountain. But, step through that entrance, and you're immediately transported into a different world. The temperature drops noticeably as you enter the gorge, the sun-baked heat of the Anatolian plateau giving way to the cool, humid microclimate created by the canyon walls. The air carries the mineral scent of limestone and the constant sound of rushing water. The gorge itself is a masterpiece of geological violence and patient carving. Created by the same tectonic forces that raised the Taurus Mountains, the canyon was carved over millions of years by the Ulupinar River. The walls rise vertically on both sides, their surfaces polished smooth by centuries of floodwaters. The rock faces display a stunning array of colors, from pale cream limestone to deep ochre deposits, with bands of different minerals creating natural artwork that, honestly, changes color as the limited light shifts throughout the day. Walking through Saclacant is less like hiking and more like, well, navigating a natural cathedral. The canyon floor is actually the river itself, which means visitors have to wade through knee-deep water that maintains a constant temperature of about 8 degrees Celsius all year round. The contrast between the warm Turkish sun above and the shocking cold of the glacier-fed water creates an immediate physical awakening. The current is strong but still manageable, and the rocky bottom gives secure footing for those brave enough to venture deeper into the canyon. The acoustics inside Saclacant are, honestly, extraordinary. The towering walls form a natural echo chamber that amplifies every sound. Footsteps splash with cathedral-like resonance, voices carry for hundreds of meters, and the constant rush of water creates a kind of white noise backdrop that seems to come straight from the rock itself. The effect is both isolating and connecting, making visitors really aware of their small place in this vast natural architecture. What makes Saclacant particularly impressive is the way the canyon changes character as you progress deeper. The entrance is relatively wide and well lit, but as you move upstream, the walls close in and the light dims. At the narrowest points, the canyon is less than 2 meters wide, with walls that just disappear into darkness above. These squeeze sections create a sense of being inside the mountain itself, surrounded by millions of tons of rock held in place by nothing but geological tension. The water in Saclacant is incredibly pure, fed by snowmelt from the high peaks of the Taurus Mountains, and by underground springs that filter through kilometers of limestone. The mineral content gives the water a distinctive taste, and creates the brilliant clarity that allows you to see every detail of the rocky bottom. In wider sections, the water forms natural pools deep enough for swimming, though the temperature makes these experiences brief but memorable. The plant life that manages to survive in this harsh environment is remarkable. Hardy ferns cling to the canyon walls in places where seeping water provides moisture. Wild fig trees somehow find purchase in cracks in the rock, their roots following fissures deep into the stone. The entrance to the gorge supports a lush riparian environment, where plane trees and oleander bushes create a garden-like setting that contrasts dramatically with the stark canyon beyond. The adventure aspect of Saclacant cannot be overstated. This isn't a passive sightseeing experience, it's a physical challenge that requires commitment and courage. The combination of cold water, slippery rocks, and the psychological impact of being surrounded by towering walls creates an adrenaline rush that makes every step feel significant. The reward is access to one of Turkey's most pristine natural environments, a place where human impact is minimal and natural forces reign supreme. Number 4. Aspendos Theater. Rising from the Pamphylian plain like a monument to human artistic achievement, the Roman theater of Aspendos stands as the most perfectly preserved ancient theater in the world. Built in the 2nd century AD during the reign of Emperor Marcus Aurelius, this architectural masterpiece doesn't just survive, it thrives, continuing to host performances nearly 2,000 years after its construction. This is where Roman engineering genius meets timeless artistic vision, creating a structure that bridges millennia with its acoustic perfection and visual majesty. The first glimpse of Aspendos Theater is genuinely awe-inspiring. The massive stone structure emerges from the rolling hills of Antalya province like a sleeping giant, its honey-colored limestone walls catching the Mediterranean sun. The theater's scale becomes apparent as you approach. The outer wall rises to a height of 96 meters, while the semicircular seating area stretches 96 meters across. These aren't just impressive dimensions, they represent the mathematical precision that Roman architects brought to every aspect of the design. The preservation of Aspendos is nothing short of miraculous. While other ancient theaters have lost their stage buildings to earthquakes, wars, or simple neglect, Aspendos retains its complete skini fronds, the elaborate architectural backdrop that formed the stage. This two-story facade, decorated with columns, arches, and statuary niches, rises 17 meters above the stage floor. The intricate stone carving work includes geometric patterns, floral motifs, and architectural details that demonstrate the highest level of Roman craftsmanship. What sets Aspendos apart from other ancient theaters is its acoustic perfection. The Romans understood sound engineering with a sophistication that honestly modern architects still study. The semicircular seating arrangement, the angle of the seats, and the shape of the orchestra area all combine to create this natural amplification that carries even a whisper from the stage to the highest seats. A coin dropped on the stage can be heard clearly in the back row, while the curved wall behind the stage reflects sound back to the audience with perfect clarity. The seating arrangement reveals the social structure of ancient Roman society. The theater could accommodate 15,000 spectators, arranged in a carefully planned hierarchy. The orchestra level, closest to the stage, was reserved for VIPs and wealthy citizens. The lower seating section, called the Ima Cavea, housed the middle classes, while the upper section, or Summa Cavea, accommodated the general public. Separate entrances and internal corridors ensured that each social class could reach their designated areas without mixing with others. The stage itself is, honestly, a masterpiece of practical design. The wooden floor, supported by a complex system of underground chambers and passages, created a resonating chamber that really enhanced vocal projection. Trapdoors allowed actors to make dramatic entrances and exits, while the elaborate stage machinery, still partially visible, enabled some pretty spectacular special effects. The acoustic chambers beneath the stage, called the hyposkenium, demonstrate the Romans' impressive understanding of how to manipulate sound for maximum theatrical impact. The view from the top rows of Aspendos encompasses the entire Pamphylian plain, with the Taurus Mountains rising in the distance. This positioning was deliberate. Roman theater was as much about the total experience as the performance itself. The natural beauty of the setting became part of the spectacle, with sunset performances taking advantage of the changing light to create ever-shifting backdrops for the dramatic action. The survival of Aspendos through nearly 2 millennia is, honestly, a testament to Roman construction techniques. The limestone blocks were cut and fitted with such precision that many joints remain tight even without mortar. The foundation extends deep into the hillside, distributing the enormous weight of the structure across solid bedrock. The drainage system, still functional after 2,000 years, prevents water damage that has destroyed other ancient structures. Modern performances at Aspendos create an extraordinary connection between past and present. When opera singers or orchestras perform on the ancient stage, their voices carry with the same clarity that Roman actors achieved centuries ago. The acoustic properties that made the theater perfect for classical drama work equally well for contemporary music, proving that great architecture truly transcends time and culture. Along Turkey's Lycian coast, where ancient mythology meets geological reality, the ruins of Olympos and the eternal flames of Chimera create a landscape where legend seems to breathe through the very stones. This is not just another archaeological site, it's a place where the boundary between myth and reality blurs, where flames have burned continuously for over 2,500 years, and where the ruins of a once great city emerge from a Mediterranean forest like something from a fairy tale. The approach to Olympos is deliberately romantic. The ancient city lies hidden in a valley that opens directly onto one of Turkey's most beautiful beaches, where the Ulupinar River meets the Mediterranean. The path to the ruins leads through a tunnel of oleander bushes, wild fig trees, and ancient pines, creating a natural cathedral that filters the harsh Mediterranean sun into dappled golden light. The air is thick with the scent of pine resin, wild herbs, and the salt breeze from the sea. The ruins themselves emerge from this forest setting like a lost civilization rediscovered. Unlike the carefully excavated and maintained archaeological sites elsewhere in Turkey, Olympos retains an air of romantic abandonment. Roman tombs stand half-hidden among the vegetation, their carved facades still displaying intricate reliefs of mythological scenes. The most famous of these, the tomb of Captain Eudomus, features a relief of a ship that seems to sail through the stone itself, its carved sails billowing with movement despite being frozen in marble for nearly 2,000 years. The beach at Olympos is a paradise of pebbles and sand where the ancient harbor once welcomed ships from across the Mediterranean. The water is crystal clear, fed by mountain streams and underground springs that maintain a perfect temperature for swimming. The coastline here is remarkably preserved, with no modern development to interrupt the natural beauty. Swimming in these waters, you can imagine the ancient traders and pilgrims who once landed here, carrying goods and ideas that would shape the ancient world. But, the true magic of this region lies in the hills above Olympos, where the Chimera flames create one of the world's most extraordinary natural phenomena. These eternal flames have burned continuously for over 2,500 years, fed by natural gas that seeps through cracks in the limestone. The flames dance and flicker against the rock faces, creating an otherworldly spectacle that inspired ancient Greek mythology and honestly continues to mesmerize visitors today. The hike to the Chimera Flames is, well, a pilgrimage through both natural beauty and mythological history. The trail winds through pine forests and over rocky outcrops, offering glimpses of the Mediterranean through the trees. As darkness falls, the flames become visible from kilometers away, flickering like terrestrial stars against the dark mountainside. The sight of these natural fires burning in the wilderness creates an immediate connection to humanity's most primitive relationship with fire and, yeah, the unknown. The flames themselves vary in size and intensity, with some reaching heights of several meters while others burn as small, steady pilot lights. The gas that feeds them is primarily methane, created by the decomposition of organic matter deep underground and released through the porous limestone. The flames are hot enough to boil water and cook food, and locals have used them for practical purposes for centuries. The fact that these flames have burned continuously through wars, earthquakes, and the rise and fall of civilizations, well, it really adds to their mystical appeal. The mythological significance of the Chimera flames cannot be overstated. Ancient Greeks believed these fires were the breath of the Chimera, a fire-breathing monster with the head of a lion, the body of a goat, and the tail of a serpent. According to legend, the hero Bellerophon, riding the winged horse Pegasus, defeated the Chimera and imprisoned it beneath the mountain, where its fiery breath continues to escape through cracks in the rock. This myth, born from the real phenomenon of the eternal flames, demonstrates how ancient peoples sought to explain the unexplainable through storytelling. The combination of Olympos and Chimera creates a complete experience that engages all the senses. The visual beauty of the ruins and beach, the sound of waves and wind through ancient stones, the scent of pine and sea air, and the warmth of the eternal flames create a sensory journey that connects visitors to both natural wonder and human history. This is Turkey at its most magical, a place where the physical and metaphysical worlds intersect in ways that defy simple explanation. Number 2. Hagia Sophia. In the heart of Istanbul, where Europe meets Asia and Christianity meets Islam, Hagia Sophia stands as the most significant architectural achievement in human history. For over 1,500 years, this extraordinary building has served as a cathedral, mosque, museum, and mosque again, its soaring dome and revolutionary design inspiring architects, theologians, and emperors across civilizations. This is not just a building, it's a testament to human ambition, spiritual devotion, and the power of architecture to transcend time and religion. The first glimpse of Hagia Sophia from Istanbul's historic peninsula is genuinely breathtaking. The massive central dome, flanked by half-domes and supported by flying buttresses, creates a silhouette that has defined the city's skyline for centuries. The building's proportions are mathematically perfect, with each element supporting and enhancing the others in a harmony that, honestly, speaks to the divine inspiration that drove its creators. The interplay of curves and angles, the cascade of domes from large to small, creates a composition that seems to defy gravity while embracing the sky. The interior of Hagia Sophia is where human engineering achievement reaches its peak. The central dome, 31 meters in diameter and soaring 56 meters above the floor, seems to float without visible support. The architect Isidore of Miletus achieved this impossible effect through a revolutionary understanding of structural engineering, using pendentives to transfer the dome's weight to massive piers while creating the illusion of weightlessness. The result is a space that feels both monumental and ethereal, earthbound and heavenly. The light inside Hagia Sophia is legendary. 40 windows around the base of the dome create a ring of light that makes the dome appear to glow from within. As the sun moves across the sky, this light shifts and changes, creating different moods and atmospheres throughout the day. The architects understood that architecture is not just about space, it's about the quality of light within that space. The carefully calculated placement of windows, the height of the dome, and the proportions of the interior all work together to create an otherworldly luminosity. The artistic treasures within Hagia Sophia span both Christian and Islamic traditions, creating a unique cultural palimpsest. The Virgin and Child mosaic in the apse, dating to the 9th century, represents some of the finest examples of Byzantine art. The gold background seems to emit its own light, while the faces of the Virgin and Child display a humanity and emotion that really transcends religious boundaries. The enormous Islamic calligraphy medallions, installed when the building became a mosque, create a dialogue between artistic traditions that speaks to Istanbul's role as a bridge between cultures. The Defies mosaic, partially preserved in the gallery, shows Christ flanked by the Virgin Mary and John the Baptist in a composition that, honestly, demonstrates the height of Byzantine artistic achievement. The faces, particularly that of Christ, display a psychological depth and spiritual intensity that seems to follow viewers as they move. The technique of using thousands of tiny glass tesserae to create subtle gradations of color and light shows a level of craftsmanship that has just never been equaled. The acoustic properties of Hagia Sophia are as remarkable as its visual impact. The dome acts as a resonating chamber that enhances and enriches sound, creating a reverberation time of over 10 seconds. This acoustic environment was designed for the human voice, whether chanting Byzantine liturgy or reciting Islamic prayers. The building itself becomes a musical instrument, transforming sound into something transcendent and divine. The historical significance of Hagia Sophia extends far beyond architecture. Crowned here were Byzantine emperors who ruled an empire that stretched from the Danube to the Euphrates. Here, the Great Schism of 1054 symbolically began when papal legates placed a bull of excommunication on the altar. When Constantinople fell to the Ottomans in 1453, Mehmed the Conqueror's first act was to pray in Hagia Sophia, marking the end of the Byzantine Empire and the beginning of Ottoman dominance. Every stone in this building has witnessed moments that changed the course of world history. The engineering innovations pioneered in Hagia Sophia influenced architecture for centuries. The use of pendentives to support a dome, the integration of windows into the dome structure, and the careful calculation of weights and stresses became standard techniques that were copied throughout the Byzantine and Islamic worlds. The building's design influenced everything from the Blue Mosque across the square to St. Peter's Basilica in Rome. Beneath the fairy tale landscape of Cappadocia lies one of the most extraordinary feats of human engineering ever achieved. The underground cities of this region, carved entirely by hand from solid volcanic rock, represent a subterranean civilization that could house tens of thousands of people in a complex network of tunnels, chambers, and multi-level communities. This is not just impressive architecture, it's a testament to human ingenuity, determination, and the lengths to which people will go to survive and thrive in the face of impossible odds. The city of Derinkuyu, the largest and most complex of Cappadocia's underground settlements, descends 8 levels into the earth, reaching a depth of over 60 meters. This vast subterranean complex could accommodate up to 20,000 people along with their livestock, food supplies, and all the necessities of daily life. The sheer scale of the excavation is staggering. An estimated 15,000 tons of rock were removed to create this underground metropolis, all carried to the surface through narrow passages, using nothing more than primitive tools and human determination. The engineering sophistication of these underground cities rivals anything achieved in the ancient world. The ventilation system is a masterpiece of pre-industrial design, with over 15,000 air shafts ensuring fresh air circulation throughout the complex. These shafts, some reaching depths of 85 meters, create a natural air conditioning system that maintains comfortable temperatures year-round. The ingenious design uses the principle of thermal currents to draw fresh air down through some shafts, while exhausting stale air through others, creating a continuous flow that kept the underground population healthy and comfortable. The water supply system demonstrates equally impressive engineering. Underground streams were diverted and channeled through the complex, with wells providing access to fresh water at every level. The water distribution system included settling tanks, filtration chambers, and storage reservoirs that ensured a constant supply of clean water even during extended periods of underground habitation. The precision of the excavation allowed ancient engineers to tap into underground water sources with remarkable accuracy. The defensive capabilities of these underground cities are extraordinary. Massive stone wheels, some weighing over 500 kilograms, could be rolled into place to seal passages and trap invaders in dead-end tunnels. The narrow passages, designed to allow only single-file movement, created natural choke points where a few defenders could hold off large numbers of attackers. The multi-level design meant that even if invaders breached one level, the population could retreat deeper into the complex, sealing passages behind them. The social organization required to create and maintain these underground cities reveals a level of community cooperation that is remarkable by any standard. The excavation would have taken generations to complete, requiring a sustained effort that passed from parents to children to grandchildren. The planning necessary to coordinate such a massive undertaking, ensuring proper ventilation, water supply, waste disposal, and food storage, demonstrates sophisticated understanding of urban planning and engineering principles. The daily life infrastructure within these cities is comprehensive and thoughtfully designed. Kitchens with ventilation systems to remove smoke, stables for animals, wine cellars for storage, chapels for worship, and meeting halls for community gatherings. Everything needed for a complete underground society. The carved stone furnishings, from tables to beds to storage niches, show attention to comfort and functionality that goes far beyond mere survival accommodation. The artistic elements throughout the underground cities reveal a culture that valued beauty even in the depths of the earth. Carved reliefs, painted decorations, and carefully shaped architectural details show that these weren't just refugees, they were homes where people lived full lives. The underground churches, with their carved altars and decorated walls, demonstrate the importance of maintaining spiritual life even in the most challenging circumstances. The interconnection between different underground cities creates a vast subterranean network that stretches for kilometers. Tunnels connect Derinkuyu to Kaimakli, and other passages link to smaller underground settlements throughout the region. This network allowed for communication, trade, and mutual defense between communities, creating a shadow civilization that existed entirely below ground. The mystery of who built these cities and why adds to their fascination. While we know they were used by early Christian communities fleeing persecution, the complexity and scale of the construction suggests a much longer history. Some sections may date back to the Hittite period, over 3,000 years ago, with successive civilizations expanding and improving the underground infrastructure. The fact that these cities could be sealed and abandoned quickly, then reopened and reoccupied generations later, speaks to their strategic importance and the recurring threats that drove people underground. Standing in these underground chambers, surrounded by the evidence of human determination and ingenuity, you cannot help but be moved by the extraordinary lengths to which our ancestors went to protect their families and preserve their way of life. These cities represent humanity at its most resourceful and resilient, transforming the earth itself into a fortress and a home. What we've discovered together in this journey through Turkey is more than just a collection of beautiful places. It's a testament to the incredible diversity and richness of human experience. From the heights of Mount Ararat to the depths of Cappadocia's underground cities, from the pristine beaches of the Mediterranean to the mystical flames of Chimera, Turkey reveals itself as a country where natural wonder and human achievement exist in perfect harmony. This is a land where every sunrise illuminates a new facet of beauty, where every archaeological site tells a story of human ambition and creativity, where every landscape reveals the artistic hand of geological time. Turkey doesn't just contain wonders, it is wonder itself, a living gallery where the exhibits change with every step, every season, every shift of light across ancient stones. The 12 places we've explored today represent just a fraction of Turkey's treasures, yet they reveal the essential character of this remarkable country. This is a place where civilizations have layered their achievements one upon another, where natural forces have collaborated with human vision to create landscapes that seem too beautiful to be real, where every journey becomes a pilgrimage through time and beauty. Turkey challenges every assumption about what a single country can contain. It bridges continents and cultures, spans millennia and architectural styles, encompasses every ecosystem from snow-capped mountains to Mediterranean beaches. It's a country that refuses to be categorized, that surprises at every turn, that rewards every visitor with memories that last a lifetime. If this journey amazed you, subscribe and share it with someone who loves discovery. Some places you visit, others stay with you forever. Until the next destination, stay curious.